Hello, welcome back to the channel and video number 4 in a series of Zone 2 training videos. There are 3 other videos, obviously, and those links will be provided in the description below. They are non-consecutive. In other words, there's no continuity issues if you were to watch one of the other videos out of sequence. But it is kind of nice to see maybe a progression from just basic fundamentals and moving on to more and more detail. So that video number 4 in this case has a little bit more detail. What we're going to do is look at 3 of my training rides that were Zone 2 rides, and or a portion of that ride was a Zone 2 ride. There were other rides, but these were targeted as Zone 2 rides. 2 of these rides I rode alone, so I can control all the variables, and then the third I rode with my crew, with my 2 other ladies that I ride with, Lori and Barbara. Okay, so let's take a quick look so that you can see that I am walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Okay.
It's 11 o'clock.
It is 11 o'clock. There you go. Okay, so what we're looking at here is Zone 2 training, Dante's View. Now, I was in Death Valley for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I did 3 consecutive days of riding. And if you ever get a chance to come to Death Valley during the spring or fall, please make an effort to make it out here. Okay. So I've been dealing with a leg issue, left leg issue for a while, so I keep documenting it when it's happening. This was a fasted ride, and so the headline is 3 hours and 46 minutes, 50-mile ride. But this had a 25-mile climb in it. And so for the 25-mile climb, you'll see this is Zone 1, which is a lot of descending. This is Zone 2. So you can see there for 3 hours, I was in Zone 2 out of a 3:46 time frame. And then here you go, just a very little bit of threshold work. And a lot of that is related to the last quarter mile, last half a mile, has very, very steep ramps. So it's a 25-mile climb, very casual type of grade, 3 to 6% for the majority of it, but then you get this huge ramp. So there's the power numbers. So power numbers for an hour 46 between 135 and 182, and then a little bit of, so that would be endurance, and then that would be tempo, 183 to 218. Now, this is the map in Death Valley, and then, of course, this is the climb. So this is the data for the climb. So 2 hours, 45-minute total time. I pulled over to take a picture of my bike next to or underneath the 100 feet below sea level sign, which I thought is really, really cool, and I'll share that with you folks eventually. I've got some videos that I'm working on. But there's the data for it. So 2 hours, 45 minutes, let's just round up just to make the math easy. A 25-mile climb. The normalized power was 176. But at the time, I was trying to keep my heart rate between 140 and 145. And so there it is, 141. And again, trying to keep the power low and not do anything crazy, letting it spike or anything. And then you could see the max heart rate was only 148 for this 2 hours and 40 something minutes. Interestingly, my power between my left and my right leg only shows about 5% difference, but sometimes it's much, much worse. It is a 25-mile climb with about 5,700 feet of gain. And it's just one big monster climb from below sea level all the way up to 5,500 feet above sea level. But what I want you to notice is you just want to keep the power steady, and this red line up here is the heart rate. So you notice it's just very, very steady. There's no spikes, there's none of that. And that is what you're looking for in a Zone 2 ride. Now, I'm fortunate to live in Southern California. I'm fortunate to have a 25-mile climb to control the effort very well. And, you know, if you live in other parts of the country, you'll have to do somewhere else to get, you know, 2 hours, 3 hours of Zone 2. But this is a very controlled environment for me to get my Zone 2 and really, really work on it. Okay, so that's workout number 1. Then on the next day, let's move this out of the way. On the next day, I did a 16-mile climb, and this climb was a little bit steeper, but I was still able to control my heart rate to keep it under 145, and that was about 3 hours of a 3-hour 41 ride. Now, this was a 16-mile climb, and I purposely did this climb in the big ring. But what I want to show you is my power, even though I was riding off of heart rate, my power was in a tempo zone for a lot of that climb. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just focus in on the climb. And it's here. And we're going to highlight just the climb. There was I think about a 11-mile warm-up to get to the climb. And then this is a 16-mile climb. So we'll look at the data now. And on this 16-mile climb, about 4,500 feet of gain. Also below sea level up to, I forget what it was, 41 something. And this was another good, nearly 2 hours of sustained Zone 2 training, keeping the power within check. I mean, from the average to the max is only, 70 watts? And there were some ramps on this one. But you'll see that even between the average and my max heart rate, only 5 beats. So I kept that very, very controlled during this entire climb of nearly 2 hours, just steady. And Zone 2, you could see now here's the heart rate. And if you haven't used this stuff before, this is smoothing. So you can kind of take out a lot of the peaks and smooth out the power data if you don't want to see it as spiky. But basically, I know from this data that I see here that there was not much of a spike. So that was a good solid 2-hour block within this ride. And then lastly, I want to show you the 200K ride that I did on Saturday, December the 3rd. So today's December the 8th. And right now, because the shop is fairly busy, I don't get a chance to ride more than about 3 times a week, but I still get in about 200 miles to 225 per week. So here we go. I had to move my Zone 2 heart rate to a different setting because I thought 145 was feeling too easy. Like I was barely breathing, and we're looking for that labored breathing. So I changed my Zone 2, and that's why I want to show you this video, because even though I thought my Zone 2 was a max of 145, I didn't feel anything on this ride at 145. So I moved it to 155 as what I think, between 150 to 155. And so that ended up being about 4 hours and 21 minutes. So 54% of the ride is what I rode in Zone 2 for this ride. And we started to run out of daylight, so we had to ride at tempo and threshold towards the end of the ride, just to get back before losing daylight. And but still, I kept the heart rate in check. You can see that only 2 minutes out of an entire 8-hour ride, just keeping everything in check. Only about, 47 minutes at tempo. And like I said, we were running out of daylight. This ended up being an 8-hour ride, 126 miles, over 10,000 feet of climbing. And that's what it is here in San Diego. It's just a lot of climbing. We can dig deeper into this ride, but there's the map. And maybe you've heard of some of these towns, but just a very, very hilly terrain. We didn't do any mountains. We just did a lot of hills. And if I were to clean up this chart, this is what it looks like. So it's just a very hilly area to ride, and we like it that way. You know, we are very fortunate to live in this area, but lots of climbing, and I still was able to maintain for the entire ride 145 average. And like I said, we had to go a little bit harder on the way home, but just a good solid 4 hours of zone 2 out of an 8-hour ride. Okay, that's all for today. We can dig deeper into any of these themes, but for now, just wanted to show you that I'm not only talking the talk, but I'm walking the walk. I am in a zone 2, 4 to 5, maybe 6 weeks. I still haven't decided, just so I can get ready for the season. I think middle of January. Not sure when the first event's going to be. About a 200K. Okay, that's all for today. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you up the road.